I want to talk real quick about names that I like. You know, naming is usually one of the first ways you're introduced to something, and it's cool to see like what cultural signifiers the author might be, pulling from in order to make you feel something when you read or hear that name. So let's check it out. Blues Drive Monster. I really like this one. It's sort of a punch punch kick combo like in a fighting game. A theme you might see in this video is that some of the names, like, they're just words that kind of are mashed together and they don't really make sense. It's just the sort of onomatopoeia of when you hear the syllables together. You're like, oh, that's nice. That's music to my ears a little bit. But then there's also the other level of, blues, drive, monster. Those are three words that obviously have meanings to us, You sort of get this image in your head of this melancholic beast that's like shaking with kinetic energy. And that's really cool. I like that sort of dichotomy. Next up is Airspace Babylon. This one is it's sort of in the Neon Genesis Evangelion school of borrowing, religious imagery just because it's cool. Yeah, I don't know what this has to do with Babylon, but Airspace Babylon is a combination of words that's just cool as hell. I guess it could be argued that maybe it's an allusion to the Tower of Babel. So, if you want to sort of read into that and have that meaning injected into it, then, all the power to you. That makes it even cooler. Next up is Rhino Schneider. Eiichiro Oda is he's one of the goats of naming, and Japanese people often just use a bunch of English words that have this cool sound to them, and this is no exception. Rhino Schneider is an interesting one because it's informed by Luffy's training, because he named a lot of his attacks after the animals that he was fighting during the 2-year time skip. I don't know what Schneider has to do with his training. Maybe that was the name of the rhino or something like that. Or maybe it's just a little cool thing to put at the end of the attack to make it sound awesome, to imbue it with that power. You know how naming conventions in anime make the attacks more powerful. So Schneider is just a very percussive word with a lot more consonants than it seems to really need. Okay, stay with me for this one. In Kendrick's newest album, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, the idea of a big stepper is something that's really fascinating to me, because the image of that is a sort of import for such a typical quotidian task. Why mention a big step? Why is the big step such a big deal? It's something that you do every day. Sometimes you take big steps. Why bring attention to this particular big step? And it's that bringing of attention to an ordinary task that sort of grants it that mythical value. The fact that it's so important to you for some reason that you think that you ought to make a whole album surrounding that idea of the big step. Whatever, interpretations you package into that combination of words. So I say all of that to say that it is called Almighty Push.
Almighty Push.
Which is fucking fantastic. In the same vein of Big Steppers, Almighty Push is just like, what do you mean an almighty push? How can a push be almighty? When you hear that name, you're like, shit is about to go, something cataclysmic is about to happen. Hearing the name, it is a harbinger of what is to come, and you sort of have a conception of the scale of what is about to happen. Argent Peacemaker. I haven't played Spiral Knights in quite some time, but Argent Peacemaker, that name has stuck with me for so long. For a while, I didn't even know what Argent meant. But the idea of a weapon being called a peacemaker is it has a sort of a grimness to it, a sort of irony to it, and the idea of something being argent and having this purity to it, and while also being connotated with the idea of wartime and battle. I love the irony of the name of this weapon. Canopy Shine. If you've been around for a while, you know that I am a big fan of this game that got shut down. It was called Ether Saga. This is a name from that game. It is the name of one of the attacks. This attack was obtrusive, literally screen-shaking attack. And it's so beautiful that name is connected to something that is just so bombastic. The idea, the imagery of a canopy shine, like you climbing to the top of the trees and seeing the shine of the canopy, seeing the sun shine onto the top of the trees. What a beautiful image too. Such a badass attack. Ripper Cyclotron. I really like this one because it sounds like a theme park attraction. It sounds like Bizarro. And then when you're thinking of theme park attractions, you think of, gamification. And that's something that is lended very well to the idea of this attack, because Ripper Cyclotron from Hunter x Hunter is an attack where the more rotations the guy does with his arm, the stronger the attack becomes ad infinitum, which is fucking awesome. So there is this sort of undercurrent of unwieldiness and unpredictability that comes with this attack. And the name definitely matches that unwieldiness, because Cyclotron, it has this similarity to Psycho. Ripper, obviously a very violent word. So yeah, it's pretty much a match made in heaven. Millennium Earl. This is a classic. I love D. Gray, man, and I need to read it again sometime soon. But Millennium Earl is one in a line of other names that I really like, which are multi-syllabic followed by a one-syllable word. So like Grandmaster Flash, Tyrannosaurus Rex, Hieronymus Bosch. Those kind of words, they just have a very nice flow to them. The je ne sais quoi, might you say, is and last but not least for this list, all fiction. Now we're talking, man. First of all, the same way we're talking about like Big Steppers and the Almighty Push, you already know what's coming next when you hear an ability name like All Fiction. Except there's no irony, there's no tax to it. It's right in your face. All Fiction. Yeah, you know that attack is busted. Yeah, so I don't remember the specifics of this attack. If I recall correctly, I think the guy, if there is an ability that is in a piece of fiction, then he has knowledge of it and he can use it. So yeah, I'd say that tracks.